Hey, my friend, and welcome to Lesson 5. Not one more time. Not one more time. This is where we're going to get serious. You might have already thought I was a little bit serious. This is where we're going to get serious. Not one more time. Not one more time is about knowing that you deserve better than what you've been giving yourself, than what you've been allowing yourself to receive. Not one more time is about that critical voice in your head that questions everything and says, see, that wasn't good enough. See, you're never doing it right. See, you're doing it wrong again. You know that voice? Not one more time is the response that I want you to have to any of those situations previously mentioned. Not one more time. Now this is powerful because what we're saying is I am willing to love myself enough. I am willing to honor myself. I am willing to be my own best friend. And maybe that's the best friend to my body. Maybe that's the best friend to my mind. Maybe that's the best friend to my emotions. I'm willing to be kind and gentle and loving, and I will not take the self-abuse not one more time. It's interesting that we can so easily allow ourselves to be abusive to us. And as you're listening to this, the wheels might be turning. And that word is a strong word, abusive. But we are. Oh my God, the voice that was in my head for so many years was so abusive. And a lot of it was a voice I had heard from other people outside of me. But it became my own. And that voice became the overwhelming response to everything. Didn't matter what I did or how well I did it. It wasn't enough. And then I started to learn that I wasn't so bad. You know, I wasn't this horrible person. And as I started to learn that through a variety of different ways, through books that I was reading, through interactions with some people, through reflection of my own, I heard a term that really helped me, and I'm hoping that this will help you too. When you know better, you do better. And I would think, okay, I can get on board with that. I know better. I know more now. But then I would fuck up again. Then I would judge myself again. Then that critical voice would show up. And I'd be like, well, see, it's not even true. When I know better, I don't do better because I just did it again. But when you know better, you do better means is that we are constantly in a state of evolving. We're constantly becoming more and more aware and more enlightened, right? And as we become more aware and we become more enlightened, we start to see the patterns. We don't always catch them at the beginning. But as we gain more knowledge, the knowledge is in the head. As we gain more knowledge in the head, we start to actually have some experiences with that knowledge. And when we start to have some of those experiences and it drops down into the heart, that's when we actually have the wisdom from it. You see, when you know better, that's just in the head. It's just the intellect. It's when we've dropped it down, embodied it, and it's living in our heart, well, that's the wisdom. And that's when we do better. So when I know better, I take the information in, and then I've got experience, and then I can do better. And that space in between the knowing and the doing, well, Well, that's a thing called life. It's a process of practice. It's a process of observation, making little shifts and changes, taking responsibility and making choices, till we get to a place where really, when we know better, we do better. And for you, you probably know that you deserve more than you've allowed yourself to have. You probably know that you are, if you go deep, deep inside, you probably know that you are a blessing in this world, that you are spirit and body, and that you are here for a great purpose. And maybe some moments, some days, some hours, some weeks, you let yourself live in that energy. And then maybe in some moments, and some hours, and some days, and some weeks, you don't. And you talk yourself out of your power and your possibilities and your purpose. And what I would like you to recognize is that you have the ability to change the direction and the course of your life by not accepting that pattern any longer. I will no longer show up the bitch in my own life. The contradiction of who I really am in my own life. Not one more time. And I'll tell you how this started for me. Was I had such negative thinking. Stinking thinking. And it just didn't matter what it was. But where my focus most of the time was on my body. And it was on accepting my body in the different stages and sizes that it was. And I would have this horrible critical voice that would just put me down over and over and over and over again. And I literally just didn't feel like I could break out of it. It didn't matter if I lost weight. It didn't matter if I, was a great mom. It didn't matter if I was in a really wonderful relationship. It just, nothing mattered, because all I could hear was that negative, stinking, thinking, bitchy voice that would not allow me to receive the love I deserved. So I had to learn how to honor myself, and I had to learn how to love my body and allow my body to be actually my very best friend. And yours might not be your body. Maybe yours is your relationship and it's not healthy. Maybe yours is your relationship with food, or your obsessiveness with your career, or whatever it happens to be. But whatever it is, whatever pattern within you is holding you back, is the abuser within you. The response that I encourage you to have, within as well as without, inside and outside of yourself. Not one more time. Now, when I say that, I want you to mean it. And I also want you to know that in your saying that, if you have to say it again, and you need to remind yourself of it, that is okay. Because if your intention is not one more time, you will begin to believe yourself. See, you've been telling yourself a lot of stories, and you've been feeling disempowered in some ways. And eventually, you say it enough, that becomes a new story. and you began to believe it. And one day, and I can't tell you why or how this happened, but one day I would feel that way and I would say that a lot. But you know what? One day I frickin' meant it. I meant it. I meant it with my body. I had an experience with my ex, and I was like, not one more time am I going to wake up to his drunk ass next to me. Not one more time am I going to go and pick him up from some bar after 3 days of a binge. Not one more time am I going to carry my baby out of some unhealthy, smoke-infested, alcohol-reeking place. Not one more time. Now, I said that many times, but then one day, like the stars aligned, and I frickin' meant it. And I can't tell you what gets you from one side to the other, because I don't think it's an exact process for anybody. But one day I believed it. And I want you to believe it too. Not one more time.